I never thought my greatest battle would be fought not in the political arena, but right here on my own land. As governor, I'd seen my fair share of challenges, but nothing prepared me for this. Picture this, a stunning mountain mansion, my dream home, a place of peace away from the relentless pace of public life. It was finally complete, the culmination of years of hard work. I drove up the winding road, excited to spend my first weekend there, only to be met with a scene of utter devastation. My beautiful home was gone, reduced to a pile of rubble and splintered wood. Standing there amidst the wreckage, a notice was tacked to a remaining fence post. It was from the Homeowners Association. The reason for the demolition: unpaid fines. Fines I had never even heard of. A wave of disbelief washed over me, quickly replaced by a cold, burning anger. They claimed I owed thousands for violations like improper landscaping and non-compliant exterior lighting on a house that was barely finished. They said they sent notices, but I never received a single one. This wasn't just a mistake. This was a declaration of war. They had picked the wrong person to mess with. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I turned my office into a command center. I wasn't just a homeowner anymore. I was the governor, and I was going to use every resource at my disposal. My team started digging, and what we found was sickening. This wasn't an isolated incident. This HOA was a predatory organization, a miniature mafia run by a power-hungry president and his cronies. Their scheme was simple but vicious. They would target wealthy homeowners, especially those who owned property as a second home and weren't always around. They'd invent a series of bogus fines for trivial, often non-existent, violations. They'd send the notices to incorrect addresses or not at all, letting the fines accumulate with exorbitant late fees. Then, they'd use their power to place a lien on the property and, in the most extreme cases like mine, fast-track a demolition or foreclosure. Seizing the valuable land for themselves to resell, I met with other victims. There was an elderly couple who lost their retirement home over the wrong shade of beige on their mailbox. A doctor who was so bogged down with their manufactured legal battles that he was forced to sell his property to them for a fraction of its worth. Their stories were heartbreaking, filled with frustration and a sense of powerlessness. They had all tried to fight back, but the HOA had them tied up in legal knots, bleeding them dry financially and emotionally. They had made a fatal error with me, though. They saw a wealthy owner with a new, expensive property. They saw an easy target. They didn't see the governor. The evidence we gathered was overwhelming. Falsified documents, records of illegal meetings, a money trail leading directly to the HOA president's personal accounts. He was using the association's funds as his personal piggy bank, funding a lavish lifestyle on the backs of the families he was destroying. This wasn't just about my house anymore. This was about systematic corruption. It was time to pull back the curtain and show everyone the rot that had taken hold in this community. I called a press conference. The room was packed with reporters, all buzzing with speculation. They thought it was about a new state policy or a budget announcement. They had no idea what was coming. I stepped up to the podium, not just as their governor, but as a victim. I laid out the entire sordid story, my voice steady and firm. I presented bank records, forged violation notices, and sworn affidavits from over a dozen other victims who stood with me in the room. I played a recording from a hidden camera worn by one of my investigators, capturing the HOA president bragging about how he was going to make a fortune off the governor's land. The room fell silent. You could see the shock on the reporters' faces. As I spoke, I gave the signal. State police officers, who had been waiting outside, entered the conference room. They walked straight to the back, where the HOA president and his keyboard members foolishly attending to see what was happening, were standing. The clink of handcuffs was the sweetest sound I had ever heard. The look of sheer panic on their faces was priceless. Justice was finally being served, live on every news channel in the state. The aftermath was swift. The state attorney general's office took over the prosecution, and the entire corrupt board was dismantled. We worked to pass new state-level legislation, creating stronger oversight for HOAs and protecting homeowners from predatory practices. It became known as the Homeowner's Bill of Rights. I made sure that every single one of the victims got their money back. And for those who had lost their homes, we established a fund to help them rebuild or find new ones. The legal battles were long, but we won every single one. As for my mountain mansion, I decided to rebuild it. Not as a monument to my wealth, but as a symbol. A symbol that no one is above the law, and that a community is built on trust and integrity, not greed and intimidation. Standing on the new foundation, looking out at the same breathtaking view, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in a long time. This ordeal taught me a valuable lesson. Corruption can take root anywhere, from the highest halls of government to a quiet neighborhood association. And it's the duty of every single one of us to stand up and fight it wherever we find it. Thank you for watching this story. If you've ever felt powerless against a situation like this, know that you're not alone, and you can fight back. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.